What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this Baldur's Gate 3 guide, I'll take a look at 10 early game spells that are great to use for any party setup. Some, and maybe many players, don't know how to utilize spells in BG3, specifically non-damage spells, because, they think they're not as useful as outright damage, but there is more to playing a spellcaster in BG3, and I want to show you cool things you can do using the low spells. The first spell I want to take a look at is sleep. So sleep, you can put creatures into a magical slumber and select targets up to a combined 24 hit points. So you can also upcast this to, at level 2 or higher to essentially get multiple enemies taken care of as long as you fulfill the required hit point. You might think, why is this so good when enemies have higher HP than this requires? Well, something you may not know is sleep can target multiple enemies, and this helps prevent damage done to your allies. You can also upcast, like I was mentioning earlier, upcast it to put enemies to sleep with higher HP. If you have allies within 2 to 3 meters of sleeping enemies, you gain advantage on attack and usually get a critical hit. There is no saving throw made by the target. So, when you use sleep, this means you either put an enemy to sleep or you can't, because either they're immune to it or they're not. There is no gamble or worry as long as you're under the HP threshold. Next, let's take a look at Longstrider. Longstrider increases a creature's movement speed by 3 meters until long rest. This is basically a 33% increase to movement speed on characters who have 9 meters, and it's higher for characters who have 7.5 meters. You might be thinking, this sounds cool, but is it worth using a spell slot for that? Well, here's the thing. You don't need to. Longstrider is a ritual spell, meaning you can cast it outside of combat like you would Speak to the Dead, and this won't use a spell slot. Next, let's talk about Shield Spell. So here, this is a reaction. Reactions can only be used in response to a specific event. When you are about to be hit by an enemy, increase your armor class by 5. You take no damage from Magic Missile for 1 turn. So, are you thinking this is a waste of a spell? No, it's not, because Shield's armor class bonus and Magic Missile immunity lasts until the next turn, meaning you will have this armor class bonus on you every other attack made against you for the entire round. This helps keep your casters alive and can be used effectively on Bard or Paladin, further boosting their armor class. Next is Minor Illusion. So Minor Illusion is a cantrip. Create an illusion that compels nearby creatures to investigate. This is a very strong cantrip when used outside of combat to distract enemies or pull them in close to each other before combat to set up for some big AoE damage that can eliminate them, or at least most of them. It's also good for looting stuff from enemies or friendlies without being caught, so you don't have to kill them to loot. Up next is Color Spray. So with Color Spray, you blind creatures up to a combined 33 hit points for 1 turn. This is cast in a conal AoE in front of you, making it more challenging to use in situations with pure casters, but can still be very effective against early game enemies close to death. Blinded enemies have disadvantage on attack rolls, and their ranged weapon and spell attacks are reduced to 3 meters. Just like Sleep, this spell has no saving throw, so you can use on the targets or can't. You can use it on them or not. It'll either work or not, because they'll either be immune to it or not. You won't miss on the ones you can use it on. Then there is Healing Word. So Healing Word, it does have low healing here. As you can see, heal a creature you can see. It's a bonus action as well. So originally, I thought Cure Wounds was the better choice because Healing Word does minor healing, but after some testing, I was wrong. And in fact, Healing Word is a great spell to keep throughout the entire, basically keep throughout the game, using it for down party members to get them back up before they die. Healing Word can be cast over a long distance and can be used as a bonus action, so you can attack with a weapon or cast another spell in the same turn, which you can't do if you use Cure Wounds. Next is Bless. So Bless, you can bless up to 3 creatures that gain a plus 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws for 10 turns. This spell is superb, and it's helped me so much in my playthrough so far. I can't stress enough how great this is to use throughout the entire game. Many players forget this also boosts saving throws. so it's a great way to protect your party while also improving damage output. You can upcast it as well, level 2, as a level 2 spell cast, so that way you take care of the entire party. Players may shine away from this spell due to it requiring concentration to maintain it, and feel their concentration gets broken easily. However, by making sure your caster has Bless on them, this improves their chances on not having their concentration broken. There's also, if you want, you pick up the feat Warcaster, which also improves your ability to hold your concentration while either when attacked and whatnot, and being distracted, things like that. Then we come to one of my favorites, Magic Missile. Magic Missile, shoot 3 magical darts, each dealing 2 to 5 force damage. They always hit their target, meaning you will not miss. This is extremely effective for many reasons. First, the damage of this spell can be spread around, so you don't waste other spells, and can finish off weak enemies to save you on actions used in combat. Second, this spell never misses no matter what, including if it's very dark and you can't see well or have disadvantage. Lastly, this spell can bend around to hit your target, and you can upcast it to do more damage like most spells. Sound great? Guidance is next. And with Guidance, the target gains a plus 1d4 bonus to ability checks for 10 turns, or roughly 10 seconds outside of combat. As a cantrip, it can be used as much as you want without using any spell slots. This is great to use outside of combat for dice rolls to help you succeed in dialogue, lockpicking, or disarming traps. You can also use Guidance to help in perception checks, survival checks, and similar situations to spot hidden objects in the environment. Note, this does require concentration, so don't try to override it by using a different spell or override another spell unless, you mean to. Next up is Sanctuary. So with Sanctuary, you or an ally cannot be targeted until you attack or harm a creature. You can still take damage from area spells for 10 turns. This can often save you when surrounded or keep a squishy alive when in a tight spot. You might be thinking, that's cool, but would it be better to use an attack or offensive spell instead? Well, Sanctuary is a bonus action you can use in the same turn of you attacking. Just make sure to use Sanctuary after you attack before ending your turn on yourself or another party member. Finally, I get to Disguise Self. So, Disguise Self magically change all aspects of your appearance. I get it. You're wondering, why use this in a spell slot to cast? Well, let me explain. This is vital in helping you when you rob, cheat, steal by causing the in-game characters to view you as a different character, and end your disguise with your reputation intact. Usually guards will be looking for you, but when disguised, won't be able to find you. This is also very useful when you want to talk to a in-game character you just killed by disguising yourself first, and then you speak with the dead to get info from them. Another way this helps is it can change dialogue encounters drastically, but I do not have a complete list of all possible changes. Fourthly, it can help you meet requirements for certain gear by becoming a different race in the game, so you reap the benefit. And then lastly, it lasts until long rest, and is another ritual spell, so you won't waste a spell slot since this is usually used outside of combat. So that wraps up this video. I hope you guys found this helpful. This is just covering mostly cantrips and low-level spells. I'll most likely do a video covering high-level spells that are good. For now, I wanted to showcase some spells you maybe were not aware of, or that are very good early game, and a few throughout the entire game, along with how to use them effectively, because it's not inherently obvious how to utilize these spells for new players. As always, I'd love to hear from you in the comments I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for other players to use when it comes to spells, and what spells you're using in your builds and playthroughs. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.